Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is For Pause in a Book. I make book and lifestyle related content, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Today we are going to be talking about all of the books I'm not interested in reading. I have done this video a couple of times before, and essentially it's an anti-haul. It's books that are coming out or have come out recently that I'm just not interested in reading for one reason or another. I don't have a lot of information about these books. I honestly just went on a Goodreads list of like most anticipated 2022 releases. There was like 5 pages of them. And some of them I was interested in. Some of them I didn't realize were coming out in 2022, so like I added them to my want to read. But then there were some that I was just not interested in. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why I'm not so interested in it, whether that be because the author was being problematic or just because I haven't vibed with the author in the past, which is the case for the first one, which is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. This book has already come out. I think it's the only one on here that has come out. I don't have publication dates for these. This is not the video for that, but The It Girl has already come out, I think. I know that Book of the Month had it as an option. This, I'm just not interested in because I'm not interested in Ruth Ware anymore. The last one that I read from her was The Turn of the Key, which was a super hyped book. Everyone really loved it, and it ended up on my most disappointing reads of the year that I read it. Ruth Ware is an author that's like super predictable and also like out of left field when it comes to like some of her plot twists and things like that, and it's just not an author that I vibe with. Also, this cover, not really doing it for me. Secondly, we have Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This is the second book in the Steminist novels or something like that. I don't know. The Love Hypothesis will make my worst books of 2022. I hated that book, and I have heard through the grapevine and through other people that have either read arcs of this or her like little novellas, which I'm also not interested in, that she pretty much writes the same type of heroine and the same type of guy. And I didn't like it the first time, so why would I like it in future times? I'm just not gonna read any more from her unless she does something really, really different. But these type of books, like this series, I am not interested in at all. Next, we have Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Chloe Gong is the person that wrote These Violent Delights, and I read that for the Avengers last year, and I just didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. I kind of found it boring. And this also takes place in 1920s Shanghai, so it's obviously going to be a pretty similar kind of story. Obviously, the plot's going to be different. And I do think that she did the world very well. Unfortunately, I just wasn't interested in These Violent Delights. I never actually continued on with the duology, and I'm just not super interested in reading this one either. Next up, we have a controversial one, and I think that it's one that people are really going to love. It's probably going to be all over BookTube when it comes out, and that's It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is the sequel to It Ends With Us, which I did read earlier this year. I think I gave it 3 stars. I don't think it needed a sequel. I'm going to die on that hill. I don't think it needed a sequel. I didn't think it needed a romance to begin with. I didn't love the 2 people together anyways. I wish that she would have just like been out on her own and like really succeeded as a human on her own without someone else. So I really don't think I'm gonna like the sequel. I had said after reading It Ends With Us that I wasn't going to read any more Colleen Hoover. I did end up reading Reminders of Him for my recent Goodreads romance video. And I actually liked that one. So I don't think that I'm completely writing off Colleen Hoover as an author in general, but this specific book and this specific series, I don't need a sequel. I don't. This book is fine on its own, and we're just gonna move on. There are more books that I would rather read. Then we have another book that I've been seeing pop up quite a bit, and that is Well Traveled by Jen DeLuca. This is the 4th book in the like Renaissance fair romance. I don't know what the series is called. I read Well Met, and I hated it so much. and I am in the definite minority when it comes to that opinion. Most people really love her books, specifically Well Met. I don't know a whole lot about the opinions of the later books, but I don't think that the first one was done well, and so for that reason, I'm not going to continue on in the series, and I'm not really looking forward to the new one. I do like the covers, though. I think they're really cute, but I'm not going to read them. The next one, another author I just don't vibe with, and that is The American Roommate Experience by Elena Armas. This is the sequel to The Spanish Love Deception, or the second book in that series. I think they're actually companion novels. The Spanish Love Deception is another book that I really didn't like. Probably will end up on my worst books of the year. It's way too long. It's way too drawn out. There's just, there are things that didn't need to happen in that book. There was also a lot of misogyny in that book that I didn't love, and I didn't appreciate. You can have a hate to love romance without the main character, like, actually being okay with misogyny. And, like, you know, anyways. The Spanish Love Deception really felt like two books in one, because there was just that much going on that I had to, like, remind myself, like, oh no, that conflict that we had at the beginning of the book, this is still the same book, not a different book. I just don't think your writing style is for me. So then we have Fairy Tale by Stephen King. This concept kind of sounds interesting. It's a portal fantasy where this kid who's, like, you know, normal, supposed to be, like, normal, he's a football player and things like that, and he inherits the keys to a parallel universe, and, like, that parallel universe is, like, at war and blah blah blah. It sounds interesting. I just don't love Stephen King, and I think that there are better authors that could do that concept better, and I know that this book will probably be crazy, like, it'll be everywhere when it comes out. I probably won't read this one. This one I, like, probably could be convinced otherwise if I heard raving reviews about it. The cover does look phenomenal. I am definitely, like, here for this. I've just never given Stephen King more than 3 stars, and while this concept sounds great, I don't know that he is the author to do it, if that makes sense. I don't know, like, Stephen King doesn't normally do fantasy. I think his fantasy series, like, aren't as popular, aren't as good. As of right now, it's definitely not a book I would buy. If it, like, showed up in my library, maybe I would read it, but it's not one that I, like, necessarily need to own, for sure. Next up, we have I'm the Girl by Courtney Summers. First off, this cover is hideous. I hate it. Don't want it on my shelf. And I read The Project by Courtney Summers earlier this year, ? I think it was earlier this year. And I didn't really like it. I think it really, like, went off the rails, and it's just, And this is another book about 2 sisters. And I think that, like, is that the only thing that she can write? I don't know, because every single one of her books has been about 2 sisters. This is one that I have seen some thriller reviewers get really excited about, so I'll definitely, like, check on reviews, but as of right now, not going to get my hopes up for it. It kind of has almost like a Gossip Girl feel to it, like, definitely, like, you know, getting thrust into this privilege and wealth and all this stuff through this investigation. But I don't know. She's lost my trust after The Project. She has. Then we have Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Ninth House series. I DNF'd Ninth House, and so I'm not going to try to read it again. I've actually DNF'd Ninth House twice and then unhauled it. Also, I don't like this cover. It creeps me out. I understand that people really do like it, but I do not. But yeah, I really want to like Ninth House. I feel like I'm definitely missing out on something because everyone loves Ninth House. And I didn't. I couldn't get behind it. I was just so bored. I was so confused. I tried it physically. I tried it on audio. I couldn't get it. I don't get it. So I'm not going to, like, try to force myself through a book just to get to the second book in the series. Okay, and then the last one is a book that I am not interested in because of the topic of the book, the author. This one is just, like, a problematic one. It's definitely all over Twitter. I'll link some resources, some tweets. I think Jess Owens did a video on it, so I'll link everything down below. And that is The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. This is written by a white author, and it's essentially like a reverse racism book where the black people are oppressing the white people, and that just feels wrong. It feels wrong. So not gonna do that. I honestly did not know anything about this book, hadn't heard about this book until the discourse on Twitter started, so it wouldn't have been something that was on my radar to begin with, but then, you know, it definitely got on my radar for all of the wrong reasons once that discourse started. Let me know how you feel about this, because I know that there are some books on here that people will be really excited about reading, and that's great. I love that for you. My thing is that there are so many books being published in today's market, plus the 200 plus books that I already own. If I'm not super excited about a book, I don't need to read it, okay? I don't need to read it. There's so many other things that I could be reading, could be doing. Also, let me know down in the comments below if there is a book that you are not interested in purchasing or reading, whether it be like from the library or purchasing it yourself. Let me know down in the comments below if you have an anti-haul. And if you're not feeling chatty, you can put like a big X emoji, something like, you know. That is all I have for you today. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video, and all of the other links to my social media will be in the description below if you'd like to be my friend on any other platform. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.